Hello and welcome. This window was broken more than 16 years ago, and because it's a window in a barn, it was covered with plastic and has not been fixed or replaced in all that time. Well, now it's finally time to replace this old broken window. We found a window at the Habitat store that is almost the same dimensions as the current window. It's not exactly the same, but I should be able to make it fit. Did I mention I've never installed a window before? Hopefully, it's not too difficult, and I won't end up making it worse. If this was a window in the house, I may not try to do it myself. But for my first attempt at replacing a window, it's nice to have a barn to practice on. If this thing starts leaking at the first rainfall, I can keep an eye on it and patch it up wherever I may need. Whereas if I had it on the house, and it was all closed up and started to leak, it would be a big job to fix. I'm pretty sure the first thing I need to do is remove this old window. And to do that, I'll have to pull off the panels on the inside wall. The same wall that I just painted when I did the pantry video. I knew when I painted it that one day I'll have to pull it down, but I didn't think it would be this soon after. I think I painted this wall less than 2 weeks ago. This is a 45-year-old barn, so I'm pretty curious to see what we'll find behind these panels. The first thing I found is a rat's nest. Or I think it's a rat's nest. In this corner, we have another rat's nest. It's tough to see it on camera because of all the light coming through the window. As we move up this wall, we'll see a wasp's nest. Thankfully, this one's long dead. So we had 2 rat's nests and a wasp nest. And as I pulled out the other insulation, I also found a couple of paper wasp nests. This wall was like an apartment for pests. But not anymore. Next, I went to the outside and carefully pulled off the trim boards around the window. I hope to be able to reuse these on the new window. With those gone, I removed the old window. Before I took out the inside wall, I couldn't get exact measurements of the window space, because all the panels were covering the 2x4 structure. So up until now, I wasn't able to see what kind of space I had to work with. The new window is slightly wider than the old one, and I wasn't even sure if it would fit, but now with the old window out, I can see the new window will not quite fit. But I think I can make it fit though. I'll need to trim away some of the siding. I mark a line where I want to cut, and then set the depth of my skill saw to just barely cut all the way through the siding. The challenge here is that the siding is overlapping and pretty tough to cut with a skill saw. And I also have to watch out for the nails. Okay, I made my cut. It's not the cleanest cut, but it'll be covered later with trim anyway. I didn't quite get through all of the siding, so I needed to chisel out a bit. To allow the window to fit, I'll have to remove these 2 studs and plane them down just a bit. But as I was removing them, I noticed some damage to one of the studs. It looks like long ago some bugs got in there and made a little home. The home's deserted now, but the stud's no good anymore. So I make 2 new ones. They're just a little thinner than the old ones and allow the window to fit in. The new window is just a little shorter than that old one, so I added a 2x4 across the top so I have something to attach the window to. With that added, I can pop the window in and test the fit. Everything looks great so far. The window fits. So now I can attach it with a few screws and start adding the trim back in. When installing a window, I know you have to plan for rain hitting it. Where will that rain go? I want to make sure the water will flow away from the barn rather than inside it. The worst spot I could see was at the top of the window. This side of the barn tends to get really wet. The prevailing winds in the area tend to drive the rain sideways directly into the front of the barn. When the rain runs down the siding, it would end up pooling on top of the window. So I wanted to add a little ledge above the window that will redirect any water away from the barn. So I found some aluminum scrap that I had used on the chicken coop and cut it to fit over the window. I did my best to bend the aluminum, but I don't have the proper tools for it, so it ended up a little wobbly. But it should do the job. The idea is that the water runs down the siding from above the window. It'll hit this and be diverted away from the barn, rather than pool up here and leak into the pantry. Now I can add the rest of the trim back to the window. With all the trim back on, I run a bead of caulking along the inside of the window. I imagine the rain could pool up on the edge of the trim and drip inside the barn, so I hope that adding some caulking here will help to avoid that. I don't plan to recover the inside wall with paneling anytime soon, so I can keep an eye on things in there and make sure it's not leaking. We haven't had any rain since installing the window yet, so hopefully when it does finally rain, I won't see any leaks through the new window. That does it for the window. Our cat Putty doesn't seem too impressed. If I missed anything important, please let me know in the comments below. I think it went pretty well. I'm lucky I can try something like this on a structure that we don't live inside of, and I can monitor it when it rains to see if my window installing skills are pro level or total rookie. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.